pre-taping my live. It's going to air tonight, so there's no pressure. So no one can actually watch even, I guess. Is that true? Or am I live? Maybe I am live, and then it's just going to wait till 10 p.m. I don't know how this works exactly. But I just want to do my stream uninterrupted. I don't want to be, doxxed, or what is it, swatted. I don't want to be swatted in the middle of my I'm back on TikTok, baby. I signed back. They haven't kicked me off yet. Maybe I shouldn't say that directly into the microphone. But I am back on TikTok. It liquidated my entire day yesterday. I feel more culturally relevant, closer to the pulse than ever. Okay, so it is live. So this fucking thing is live. Okay, so great. The whole point of doing this was to retain my anonymity. All right, what else did I want to talk about? I wanted to talk about, okay, so my big discovery is this, Jesus Christ. Okay, so I'm on 2nd Ave. Well, I shouldn't give away my location. People are liable to come and swat me. They're going to swat me. Gosh, Israel and Palestine, right? We should talk about that. Obviously. So I just did a comedy open mic at this place, The Stand. It actually went well. It was a nice venue. Ben Callahan had told me it was like a nice spot. Shout out to Ben Callahan. So I wanted to check it out. I've been meaning to go to this open mic forever. Wednesday at 5 p.m. $5 plus you get a free drink ticket. The guy gives you 6 minutes and a free drink ticket. And it's a nice club right off Union Square. It's the best deal in town. One of them. You get a free drink, that's unheard of. Usually it's $5 plus a one item minimum or something. So anyway, I did my 5 minutes. I don't even remember what the hell I talked about. It went pretty well. I blacked out. I was yelling, as usual. I was doing my Dane Cook inspired comedy. Dane Cook, the arena giant. Oh my God, 3 people are watching. So I woke up this morning. The first thing that happened this morning was I got some negative YouTube comments. Somebody criticized, first they said, and I understand this because it isn't, I recorded the audio. I'm trying to get a better audio capture with the open mic footage. So I plugged in directly to the board, the DI or whatever, into the camera. But the thing is, my levels were, it's tricky. Kiwi Mountain, there you go. I thought I disabled comments, This could get distracted. That's right, here I am. Here we are at the church. I think they have a reading or something maybe. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. I'm live streaming outside the church. What the fuck was I talking about? This comedy open mic. I did my Dane Cook material. My Dane Cook inspired comedy, where I just kind of yell and talk about, I don't know, sex and sort of post Jim Carrey, post Ace Ventura. What's going on is it Dance Space? Is there something going on with Dance Space? I don't know. Let's see. So yeah, here's the church. There it is. My place of employment, where I'm a part-time W-2. St. Mark's Church here. I'm working on my cadence. One of the things about comedy is you have to pace everything out. My tendency, I just have so much, it's post-bop. We're post-bop, okay? We're free, it's like those later Coltrane albums. These are my influences. This is what we're sounding like, meaning you just have to blow everything. You have to dig deep. You have to scrape the bottom, just get it all out. It all has to do with it. You're playing everything, you know what I mean? And so the thing I've noticed, my approach was just to do a wavetable or a system lord at this comedy open mic. I'm abandoning all my material. The material doesn't really work. I don't like material. I hate jokes. I've been very vocal about this. I'm a very vocal, outspoken opponent of material and jokes. I don't ever want to hear anybody's point of view or philosophy or their rhetorical argument that's like it's folded over in a punchline ever. You dox me, Kiwi Mountain. You dox me. Yeah, now all my fans are going to come and swarm me and ruin my privacy and my anonymity. Ben Affleck. For some reason, I've been seeing all these Ben Affleck videos on TikTok of him complaining about how he hates being famous. He's like, there's nothing good about being famous except maybe getting a table in a restaurant. Why do they always say this? The one thing celebrities always say about being famous, oh, the only thing that's good about it is you get a good table in a restaurant. What the fuck does that even mean? I don't even know what it means to have a good table in a restaurant. What does that mean? I mean, obviously maybe sitting near the bathroom or something sucks. But generally, they're all pretty good tables. That's the point of the fucking, you know. I'd imagine if you're a restaurant, you don't want necessarily a great table. You want to be kind of hidden or something. Privileged that you even consider and having something as being a good table in a restaurant. I don't even get to eat in fucking restaurants. You know, I eat if it's just my algorithm. This is my reaction video to the TikTok videos I've been watching. Is people complaining about how much shit costs now? Obviously, because the inflation. I mean, even Chipotle put their fucking prices up. You know, I used to be able to get out of Chipotle for under $12. Not anymore. Fucking Saigon Shack raised their prices. What the fuck? The stimulus ended a long time ago. You know what I mean? Like, who's still got cash? Who's still got fucking cash in their bank account or something? Like, I don't see how this inflation. I mean, I guess the Fed keeps raising interest rates because the index or whatever is high. So they're responding to that data. Is that why things just keep getting more expensive for us? Including Chipotle, the old standby. There's nowhere to go. So they were saying one of the fucking videos I saw was all about how there's no point in going to like Outback Steakhouse anymore. Outback Steakhouse apparently has gotten really expensive in their quality. It's like microwave dinners. It's like, yeah, but it's fucking Outback. They were like, oh, the quality mid-level dining has really plummeted. Applebee's and Outback Steakhouse. It's like, yeah, it's fucking Applebee's and Outback Steakhouse. I never ate at those goddamn places to begin with. But it's harder and harder. I mean, you know, my goal used to be $15 a day. I'd try to get a lunch for $7 or $8 and a dinner for maybe $10, something like that. Now that's unheard of. I mean, I spent $15 at Saigon Shack. And, yeah, so we're just drowning in debt. They want to send $100 billion in aid. Oh God, we're getting so fucked. I mean, that's the overall. Maybe this is just my particular algorithm, God, but all of the TikTok videos I'm seeing are about how America sucks, how it's impossible to live here. Everything's gotten way, way, way more expensive over the last 40 years compared to boomers. There's a lot of boomer versus millennial, boomer versus Gen Z. This is what it was like for our parents to buy a fucking house versus us. And one of the videos I saw was about people who moved out of the country, right? It's surprisingly cheap to move out of the United States. They said it, and they said it only costs about $1,000. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about, paperwork or something. But they said their central nervous system, it was the first time in their life their central nervous system had relaxed. Which I think that's kind of true. I think in America we are just set up to be under stress, to have constant anxiety, to feel fear, you know, to live in a constant state of fear, basically. You know, that's why everybody wants to elect reptile fucking president, because they keep us in a state of fear, so we'll keep eating, keep buying shit, keep paying for shit, keep working. You know, the work culture, a lot of the fucking TikTok. Maybe this is just China radicalizing me. Maybe YouTube is gonna, it also uses a lot less battery than YouTube. YouTube uses, but one of the other videos I saw was about work culture in the United States. You know, how it's this leftover from kind of Puritan era, or, you know, the Puritan white people who came here and stole the land, right? They had this kind of psychotic work ethic thing where it was like work gets you into heaven, right? Work You have to work hard your whole life, and you will get rewarded in heaven. And so, you know, the work culture in this fucking country is psychotic. It's brutal. It kills us all. The food kills us. The processed food, the processed ingredients. I'm having these problems with my teeth. My fucking wisdom teeth are coming in. My rear molars are cracked. I didn't even really eat that much garbage. Oh God. I started to eat this Chinese food that has like sauce, brown sauce, which has processed and preservatives and shit in it, I'm sure. That's the kind of shit you got to stay away from. You got to stay away from fucking processed food. But that's America. Everything's soy, right? There's estrogen in soy. That's why we have all these fucking soy boys. I'm looking at my outfit. I do feel like I'm like the last hipster. I feel like the culture has moved on. I'm like the thing that came from 2006. My jean jacket, I literally look like some kind of like trucker hat zombie or something. My jean jacket is all fucking torn and dilapidated and shit. The culture, I don't know. Everything's more fast fashion. Everything's kind of more normie looking, slicker. Everybody wears North Face jackets. There's just no texture. There's no character. There's no pop. There's no pop to anything. It's all fucking boring. I mean, even in the streets of New York, it's just like the people dress like the buildings, you know? It's very corporate, demure, downplaying everything. It's all athleisure. Athleisure wear, God bless, we love athleisure. The East Village is the athleisure neighborhood. We're just riffing. Yeah, okay, so I did this open mic, the stand, it was fun. It was a fun open mic. With comedy mics, you never know, because it's never gonna be, I don't know what the fucking point of doing is. It's always like 6 guys, 6 other comedians. It's always guys. It's always all guys. And frankly, you know, I don't know, not that they're, you know, not bad people or anything, but like they're not even the kind of guys that I want to make laugh. After hearing their fucking material, a lot of them you're just like, Jesus Christ, what's wrong with this person? Should be in therapy, you know. Okay, so therapy, I thought my next thing was I should fake that I'm in therapy. I should just talk about how I'm in therapy and I've been seeing a therapist, and I don't know, I guess it would be good to be in therapy. I guess as adulthood goes on, I feel more, and maybe this is just because I smoke tons of weed, but I feel more and more this creeping feeling of just like how hard life is, how we're kind of trapped in this situation that's ongoing, and whether we like it, like with this teeth, right? With my teeth problem. It's like I can't avoid this. These are in my fucking body. Shit, life just throws shit at you like this. You know, some shit happens and you're just like, man, I don't want to deal with this. I really wish this didn't happen, but you have to. You just, you know, you have to live unless you fucking kill yourself, which, you know, I never want to do. I like living, but, you know, life can be hard, can be a challenge. Maybe that's why they're called wisdom teeth, because the you know, it's all about the maturity of suffering, how we go through suffering, and maybe that makes us adults or something. I don't know. For me, I don't really necessarily, well, like I was saying about all the American kind of system, you know, the options that you're given. It's like you play ball, you get health insurance, or you are sort of somebody who lives, I mean, and more, we are all pushed in this position where we're just kind of precarious, expendable. You know, we can't afford anything. We don't have fucking health insurance. We can't afford the copay. The copay's ridiculous. It's all for profit. It just drives you nuts, man. It drives you fucking nuts. You just can't live your life. I spend my whole life thinking about these power structures private equity, venture capitalists, the market, in New York City especially, real estate, assets, how they use all this shit to launder money and shit. We're just in a crazy speculative financier society. Everything is financialized, everything is on credit, everything is like a private loan with interest, everything's a credit card with interest, everything's a lease. Kuzu Daddy just upgraded to a 2023 on his car. Dude, he pays as much for a car as most people pay for like their apartment. That's status. It's all about having nice things, diamonds, labels. Yeah, so we're out here. Guess where we are? Yeah. Yeah, so this person was criticizing me in my YouTube comments, which is fair. I just thank God that YouTube is showing, it does seem like something has changed in the algorithm that rules us, that rules how much, time we get to spend with each other. And it feels like they want to show smaller creators. They want to help small business, basically. YouTube has decided to help small business. Finally. Why did I walk all the way down here? I could have gone to St. March. Fuck. Where am I going? Oh yeah, I wanted to go to, there's this great new Munchies. You gotta get a Munchies. It is a pork bun. Oh, I'm walking down this street. I can't walk down KGB Street on my day off, can I? Is that weird? I guess not. Well, we're doing it anyway. Fuck it. Here it is. I guess those people are probably waiting for comedy. See? This is why we have to go into the muck, into the fucking front lines of the comedy world. Where Ari Shaffir, I saw Ari Shaffir in Tompkins Park the other day. Who's that guy? Yes, I keep seeing his fucking business pop things that they don't like Bosch. The execs. I don't like that shit either. They don't like workaholics. That's because it sucks. Yeah, so these people were criticizing. They said that the microphone quality on the open mic video that I posted this week was terrible and that I should not have posted it. It's disrespectful to the performers to post this video. And I should, it was like a paragraph. It was like a fucking paragraph long comment criticizing this video. And Jesus Christ, was this an algorithm? Was this a fake? Was this a bot? This was a real human being? And then they just commented on my latest vlog video. They just commented, unfortunate. Which I don't give a fuck. I don't care what the fuck they think. I don't know who they are. I'm just glad people are watching and clicking. I don't care. As long as you're watching, that's all that fucking matters. And you're engaging. You commented. Fantastic. That's helping me in the algorithm. That's helping me. YouTube probably is seeing that and taking notice. Hey, this guy is driving engagement. We should maybe seed him some new viewers, maybe. Maybe if I fucking played video games online, maybe I should start playing video games. Maybe I'll get a Alienware computer and start playing Call of Duty, Modern Warfare. Watching some of these fucking videos on TikTok of the war, they look like Call of Duty. There's like first-person fucking GoPro footage. Not that I didn't seek any of this out. The fucked up thing about TikTok, one of the fucked up things is when you first sign on, before it sort of starts to figure out who you are, it just shows you all these cop videos. It was showing me all these like very pro-cop like videos of like people dancing with the NYPD in like the subway and shit. Like a hot police officer, somebody like jumping the turnstiles and then the cop like dancing with the guy. It's like, what the fuck? Does NYPD spend like shitloads of money to like promote themselves on fucking TikTok? I think the Yankees are like an NYPD sympathy. They're like a metaphor for the NYPD. Jeter's like a super cop. I was walking by Washington Square Park and there was like 20 to 30 cops on 8th Street over by the New York Studio School just standing there. You know, they always put cops north of Washington Square on 5th Avenue anytime, you know, like during the pandemic, anytime they think some shit might go down. Like, you know, because of this Israel thing, I think they just have kind of more cops on standby and shit. Who the fuck knows? I mean, you know, it's very close to home here. You know, a lot of people in New York have been to Israel, have family in Israel, have lived in fucking Israel. And so, you know, it's a very real thing here. And I guess I'm not surprised, but the big news of Biden going over there, and I think I heard, I don't know if this is a real figure or not, but the figure that I heard was they want to send $100 billion in aid, right? And that's a lot. That's a lot of fucking money. You know, it seems like that's why they forced Biden through, if you ask me. This was something that was sort of hiding in plain sight, I think, the whole time. You know, I don't necessarily think that anybody predicted that this situation was going to be pushed to this kind of crisis point. But, you know, there are clips of Biden from the 80s and shit saying the same fucking shit about Israel that he says now. Which, you know, I mean, is that he just supports it. You know, he supports it, basically. And, what is it? They said they didn't condemn the I don't know, man. It's a complicated fucking thing, but he acted like it wasn't complicated. You know, he sort of unequivocally supported whatever the fuck they wanted to do. Which, you know, I think even a lot of Jewish people feel, you know, nuanced feelings about the state of Israel, and particularly just the way that they operate. You know, they implement a lot of really police state kind of fucking tactics, and there is a lot of militarization over there. And it's a complicated fucking issue. But also what is happening with the retaliation, you know, from what I understand from watching TikTok videos, you know, obviously, is that Hamas is sort of a it's not necessarily a representative of, you know, all Palestinians or something. It's sort of, you know, people are characterizing it, right, like it was a terrorist thing. You know, it was a terrorist action. And it's certainly not something that the people on God, that's right, I'm talking about Israel and Palestine, like I know what the fuck I'm talking about. I feel like this is what a lot of stand-up comedians do, is they feel like it's their responsibility, like, I'm going to explain this shit for everybody. I'm going to set this shit straight. And yeah, they never know what the fuck they're talking about. That's what I feel like it's sort of failing as an art form. Because these guys are... Let me go from talking about Israel and Palestine to criticizing stand-up comedy. It's like a lot of these people are not even fucking comedians. It's like if you look at comedy, it used to be full of characters. It used to be full of these kind of like, you know, people who had a little razzmatazz, you know, they would dress up, they had a fucking cadence that was all their own, they had kind of an identifiable, you know, like they're almost like mascots or something. They're just like emblematic kind of who they are. You know, Richard Lewis wears all black. He complains, he's this neurotic, oh my God, you know, he typifies kind of an essence. He, you know, he's almost like a metaphor in and of himself for some kind of like, oh Jesus, you know, oh my God, you know, kvetching, neurotic, depressed. But it's hilarious, you know, he was able to make humor out of that. He's very distinct, the way he looks, the way he talks. And he's cool, you know, he's cool. He's got a cool fucking kind of rock and roll, you know, he's got cool hair, he's good, well dressed. You know, he wanted to be fucking Lenny Bruce. When I see comedians now, it's like they all dress like shit. They all look just like, ooh, so we got some records here. What do we got? We got Smetana, Ma Vlast, My Country, the Czech Philharmonic Orchestra. Okay, that's kind of cool. Beethoven. I would take some of these, but I love classical. You have to listen to classical on vinyl. You simply must. Sheen Center, I saw a production of The Seagull here that my friend Aubrey was like the assistant director. It was excellent. Showed me what was possible in theater. The Seagull, the play of my life. The Seagull's probably the most autobiographical. It's scary how close it is to my real life. I'd like to do a remake. My whole life is kind of a remake. My reality show is a remake. Watch my pandemic episodes. That was my remake of The Seagull. My pandemic year. Yeah, so comedians, they all wear, I don't know, they all look like Mark Norman, or who's that other guy, Sam Morril. They're just kind of normal looking dudes, I don't know, who roast people in the crowd. It's like, who are kind of dicks. I don't know. I don't see these guys and go, hey, this is funny. Or even Pete Davidson, you know, God bless him. He just kind of looks like a normal dude, I don't know. The way he dresses and shit. He dresses like a cool person. Sneakers and fucking zip up, you know, athleisure. He's at the fucking Met Gala and shit. It's like, where's Elaine Boozler? Where's Rita Rudner? I don't know. You're supposed to be funny, goddammit. Bring, you know, I don't know. It's all about, you know, I think you're shaping like a worldview. Like the best comedians that I see are sort of like storytellers that kind of like are able to put like a worldview in that. There's this Louis C.K. Howard Stern interview from like 2013 or something, you know, when Louis was on top. And Louis, I would say, is most of these comedians like God. He's like number one. He's the Eileen Myles. And he's talking about how much he likes Bill Cosby. He says Bill Cosby was his hero. And you know, he fell in love with comedy listening to Bill Cosby. Sex offenders, like, you know, they're both sex offenders. Of course they vibe. Of course they resonate with each other. And I don't know, probably a lot of people. I bet Chappelle loved Bill Cosby. Chappelle, well, talking about cadence, there is a musicality, I think, to the best stand-up comedians. They have a cadence. They have, yeah, you know, like Norm's got that, you know, kind of thing that he does, you know, you know, and you know, it's just kind of funny, yeah, the way he kind of does that thing, yeah, and finding that, I think, is a big part of like I don't know. It just seems like comedy culture now. It's just like a bunch of meatheads. Nothing against the people. I mean, the comedians that I know are all beautiful. But, like the post-Rogan kind of fucking, these people are staring at me. The post-Rogan fucking, people that are just like, yeah, I don't know, like, my boss in Columbus, just like Tom Brady wants to be a fucking stand-up comedian. Tom Brady, I see all these fucking targeted ads on YouTube that are trying to convince me that Tom Brady is funny. It's like, the dude, how many fucking Super Bowls did he win? And he was married to Giselle for like 20 years. Like, he doesn't need to be funny. It's like, why? Why? The point of being funny, like, the nerds are funny. The jocks aren't funny. In high school, it's what you do to survive. You watch Comedy Channel and you star in a musical. And you win people over with your talent because you were, treated with hostility by the genetically superior athletic jock people. Now the jocks want to be funny? Let us have it. I don't know. It's just bizarre. I think people are predicting like this is going to be a bust, like the podcast bust. The stand-up comedy thing is like it's a bubble. Apparently, Texas is the future of the United States. There was a New York Times article about New York, LA, San Francisco are kind of cities of the past. The future is about Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, Houston, and apparently, Dallas, Fort Worth metro area, I think is already like the 4th biggest city or something. Houston is fucking massive. That's where the comedy mothership is in Austin. People are just getting more and more fucking ignorant. I don't know. It's amazing to me the culture that dominates in these stand-up comedy clubs, because it definitely took me some getting used to, and it's not at all what I would expect. Whereas it's like, it's very kind of right-wing, It's more like something that Elon Musk would think is fucking funny. God, I'm all over the place. I might have to delete this stream. It's just kind of a piece of shit. I just killed and now I'm out here. This is my first, doing it live on the streets. I feel like that's interesting to watch, even though I'm kind of scattered and slandering stand-up comedy culture. Well, I'm just, this is part of my big experiment. This is part of my ongoing experiment. Is boldly going where no one has gone before. And, I don't know, just, I can't do anything without having to completely criticize every aspect of the traditional system and, rebel against the form. And this is why I've always had kind of issues as a performer, because it's always like, I feel weird about X, Y, or Z, or the performer-audience relationship. It feels weird getting on stage, acting like you're, I don't know, need ego validation or something. For me, it's kind of more about, now it's more about, this is just what I do. It's not even, it feels great to get applause and shit. That has like been kind of a unexpected surprise. Just like beauty in my life is to go out and just be in front. But I also just think that, like, I don't know, this is where I work. I like working in front of an audience. And the more chance I get to do it, with these comedy sets, it's like you just get 5 minutes of unadulterated time to sort of work the audience with your language, right? And so that's what I'm kind of using. That's what I do when I go up and I do these comedy things. That's why I feel like I just kind of jar with so much with what's going on. It's because, like, most people are trying to fit in this mold of like, yeah, I got this material, and it's kind of smart-ass philosophy, where it's like, I don't know, they're all just trying to prove these points that are just like personal. Like, yeah, did you ever hear somebody say something? It's like, my girlfriend, she says something that's like, it's like, this comedian, it's like, it was pretty funny, but it's also like, who cares? It's like, She says that's fair about everything. But it's like the things that he will say are not necessarily about, it's not really a response that you would say to that. Like, you know, how many siblings do you have? Oh, I have 2 siblings. Oh, that's fair. Like, that's what most stand-up comedy bits feel like to me. It's like, this is some personal thing that, like, this guy is, like, trying to prove something that's just, like, totally situational. It's like, who cares that that fucking person does that? You know, what are you trying to illustrate? What is your bigger point, you know? That's why I would rather get up on stage and talk about RFK Jr. or politics. Okay. Oh my God. Okay. So anyway, oh, has this been the worst live stream I've done? I got 2 likes so far. Thank you. Like and subscribe. We got Halloween coming up. We got some big plans. So okay. So. Yeah, that person who criticized the YouTube videos. That's fair. I like it. Please, criticize more. I mean, with the open mics, like, you know, we do 1 a week. I don't feel bad about putting up a video where the sound is a little bit distorted. It's lo-fi. And it is, you know, I grew up sort of idolizing the garage rock of the 60s. And distorted guitars, you know, things like You Really Got Me or All Day and All of that. Yeah, the Kinks, the Sonics, not overly distorted, you know, like I wasn't so much into like 90s heavy distortion. I was more kind of like just a little bit of kind of chunky distortion on the treble, like Link Ray, The Who, I Can't Explain, just a little distortion. But distortion, you know, blowing it out, going into the red. I think part of the reason why music sucks now and why recordings sound like shit is because everything is just over-engineered. Everybody goes to these stupid engineering schools where they just teach you how to EQ everything and balance everything. And it's like, you think they were worried about that shit in the 50s when they were recording this shit in fucking echo chambers and shit? Like, they probably put it into the red on, you know, I'm not saying go super into the red, but like a little bit of distortion doesn't hurt. It can actually make something sound a lot better. And if you listen to old records, they would get bass sounds, they'd get drum sounds that just automatically when you hear them, you're like, fuck, that sounds deep and good. I was listening to some fucking rap song from the 80s or something. I was like, God damn, the bass on this just sounds so real. And, you know, it doesn't sound like something that came out of Pro Tools and like some kind of recording school, EQ, compression, noise, whatever the fuck, gated. It's like they just trusted their fucking ears. This is the point of what I'm saying, is like people don't trust their ears. It's like they're flying by all the instruments and shit. Which I guess is what you're supposed to do, but when I do sound at KGB, I listen. I trust my ears, you know? I don't worry. I mean, I try not to blow anything out too much, but if it goes into the yellow or something, you know, shit sounds better when you turn it up. I hate to say it, but it's true. A lot of fucking music sounds better when you turn it up. Loud music, you know, like a naked guitar sound, just a regular, if you just plug a guitar into a fucking PA or an amp, a lot of times just the raw sound doesn't sound that good. Add a little distortion, add a little body, add a little texture, timbre. That is so much of what is pleasurable about music, is just the pleasure of the sounds, you know, the poetry of the sounds. You want a bass that sounds like a fucking redwood tree, or, you know, it's evocative of places, feelings, settings. You have to see all that in the music. You have to see all that in the textures. That's what fucking music is. It's a metaphorical space that creates, you know, something in our heart, something in our mind. California, you know, certain songs, they just sound like California. They sound like, you know, the ocean or tree, you know, Beach Boys, whatever. They just sound like what they sound like what they're singing about, right? That's your job as a fucking artist, is to make that magic, you know? The metaphor, the poetry of what you're doing, that's the magic of it. Making guitar sound like a picture, and it just has all that stuff in it. The colors, the textures, the shadows, the sounds, the smells. A song like Positively 4th Street, you know, really does sound like this neighborhood looks. If you're walking around the West Village, you can hear the fire escapes in that song, you know? You can hear the windows, you can hear the brick, you can hear how tight everything is together. You hear the city, you know? You hear it in the organ and the piano and the guitar and the bass and the drums. You don't hear it in a bunch of fucking, you know, I'm not against loops or sampling or any of that. That's all fair game too. But you also have to be able to have that kind of synesthesia and that kind of melding of senses. That's principally where the magic is in creating a transporting moment and just taking the room some other place, you know.
Live comedy show, great show tonight, very funny. Laughs guaranteed, not a single bad joke.
All right, there you go. You heard it. Not a single bad joke. Not a single bad joke. I don't know.
Hey,
what's up, man? How are you, dude?
Are you live?
I'm live right now, dude. Yeah.
Hey,
can I put you on?
Paradise.
This is Luca That's right.
You better go out and onto that mic, baby.
Dude, you're the best, man.
No,
How are you?
course.
How are you doing?
Good.
Yeah,
I'm
good, man.
I'm
Are you
barking
barking?
like a little puppy out
Are you
here.
serious?
Yeah, yeah.
Holy shit! For what?
For the comedy shop, 8
Oh my
o'clock
gosh.
show. Come out.
All
You
right.
got nothing to do.
All right.
Look at this.
Tell my viewers
I'm like a little
exactly.
puppy. How many you got?
Yeah, exactly. Nobody's watching right now, but who knows?
How you been?
Later. Good, man. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I've been bouncing around, dude. I know I come and sometimes I sign up, but I don't.
That's totally fine.
I apologize.
No, not a big deal. Not a big deal.
I love everything about it, though. It's really a blast.
Dude, it's awesome having you on. You're hilarious.
Yeah, it's a great. It's just a great place for. It's a great place
Yeah,
for
it's like-
artists to explore and meet. And
Exactly,
it's,
thank you.
and
That's a
when
good-
I first moved to New York, it's only been a few months. But,
Really?
Yeah, I've only been here for like 2 months.
Oh,
but
shit.
It was the first place where
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I can. Hey.
Yeah, right,
people are being nice
right.
to me.
Yeah.
Because everyone here is mean. Everyone in this city is mean to everybody, except at
Exactly,
Paradise.
exactly.
That's where you
Oh,
gotta
dude,
do
in
that,
comedy
baby.
world, they're brutal.
Oh yeah.
It's competitive
Everybody's
and.
fucking. But this lady wants to come to a comedy show.
Yeah,
This
that's
lady
right.
here. All right,
All right,
buddy.
man. Well, good
Great
luck,
seeing you.
man.
Take it
All
easy.
right.
Have a great one.
See ya. Dude, that guy's awesome. Love that guy. Luca Farrow. You're gonna be hearing big things from him. See, that's fucking real comedy world, you know? Fucking I show my stream and no one is watching. How pathetic. Oh yeah. He's an awesome dude. I think that wasn't too awkward or anything. He's barking. What the fuck? Where was I? People were criticizing my YouTube video. Oh yeah, it was lo-fi. It's meant to be a lo-fi assault and distortion, distorted guitars. Maybe this is, you know, a lot of my shtick, I guess, is just reshoveling kind of like 50s and 60s fucking kind of philosophy or whatever, ethic, morality, artistic approach for the new era, for the new century. But, you know, we live in a cooler world. We live in a more Prozac out world. Everybody's on antidepressants. Everybody's on SSRIs. Everybody's streaming. Everybody's on TikTok till 3 in the morning, liquidating their time-space continuum, playing computer fucking games, watching people play fucking computer games. Weed is legal. Fucking Elon Musk is doing ketamine. That's right, man. Seeds from a life. See, people would get it. This city, I don't know. They know what's up. They see the live stream. They respect. See, check it out. Maybe I should. Should I face it? Let me face it the other way for a sec while I talk. So I'll talk and I'll just kind of face it this way, so you can see what's out there. Maybe I'll just comment on that. What the fuck was I talking? Oh, distortion. You know, a lot of my screaming on stage and shit. I'm working a room. You know, on camera it can look insane. It can look scary. I mean, especially, if you watch the open mic from this week, there definitely is like distortion on all the voices in a way that just doesn't sound good. That doesn't mean I'm not going to post it. Like I said, it's a lo-fi assault on. All right, hold on. I got to order one of these real quick. Okay. So yeah, this is my new recommendation. This spot's really good. Munchies. For the stoner, I really shouldn't be eating it because it's all gluten and God knows what's in the pork, but you know, it's called Munchies. And it's $3 for one of these pork buns. So it's like literally the cheapest thing you can get anywhere. I mean, in New York City, other than pizza, you know, you can't get anything for less than $10. We talked about this earlier. It's inflation. See my TikTok videos, see my TikTok channel. But I want to do, oh boy, oh no. I knew Ashley was going to get on and dox me. I knew Ashley was going to swat me. I tried to fucking not do this live, but YouTube wants to fuck me over, I guess. So it was a fun 45 minutes of freedom. But anyway, yeah. This is something I was thinking about with the new camera. I do want to get an HD camera, but the economics are the aesthetics, and having no budget is part of, I don't know, I guess that's what TikTok is. There is no, you know, HD equipment is ubiquitous now. You know, high quality video. There's no excuse to not have, there's no excuse to not have high quality video. Uh-oh, Ashley's gonna come assault me. Is that mine? That might be mine. All right, yeah. Cool, thanks a lot. Thank you. All right, it's gonna be some live mukbang for everybody. This is a baked pork bun from this place. It's super fucking good. See, it's like it looks like a roll. If anybody's ever been to Hometown Buffet, it tastes exactly like a roll from Hometown Buffet or Texas Roadhouse. I've never been to Texas Roadhouse. That's where I would always go on my birthday. Willie Nelson's Texas Roadhouse restaurant. I don't know how much it is now with inflation, but back in the day, during happy hour, you could get like a steak, a sweet potato, mushrooms for like $12. $7.95.
Hey, that free some baked
but roasted pork. Two. The steamed pork butt, are those the white ones?
Yeah, those are the sealed ones. These are the
Oh yeah, okay, perfect. So two of each then.
two big, two steaks.
Yeah, of the pork. Okay, try that. Oh, okay.
Watch, Ashley's gonna walk in this door. I guarantee you.
No, I'm gonna have to do that another time. Let's just make it. Yeah, you go. Perfect. You guys open.
So yeah, there you go. See, there's the baked pork.
Yeah.
This is where I'm at in my life. I'm at a low point
I was
there.
just walking around today, like, something God, you must have opened. So,
I've been eating too many meals on McDougal Street.
yeah, next time I'll come back with this skewers. They're back. Okay, great. Thank you. Take care.
Me too.
Okay, this is the ASMR. This is the virtual poetry tour of Greenwich Village. And I was bitching about stand-up comedy culture as usual. I just think it needs a total overhaul. It's just a disgrace. It's not funny. Matt Rife, this is somebody who keeps popping up on my TikTok. Where I'm doing research on is TikTok? I don't know. Is TikTok one of the biggest forms of media? You know, until I got, what happened? I don't remember if I got kicked off or I just stopped using it. I think maybe when I got a new phone, I had to I just didn't get it or something. I don't think I got kicked off. I think I just stopped using it, but I mean, I was on it constantly. It really just seemed like a superior content delivery service, quite frankly. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, God. Oh, yeah, okay, this is another thing I should talk about. This guy, Nelson Sullivan, who I don't know how I didn't discover this sooner, or, you know, I've never really seen that many, or ever any, not that I've noticed, any retrospectives of this guy. So this guy Nelson Sullivan, I think he just popped up on my fucking not on TikTok. It was before I got on TikTok. Although I would say whoever's in control of the Nelson Sullivan estate or whatever, get on TikTok. Adapt the videos for TikTok because they'd be perfect for it. But I've never seen a retrospective of this gentleman's work ever downtown. Maybe they show him at Anthology, I don't know. But I think I just found him on YouTube. I think it popped up in, the revamped YouTube algorithm, which is much, I think they're trying to compete with TikTok. That's what I see. The Instagram Reels, the YouTube moments, or whatever the fuck they are, stories. They're trying to compete with this high octane, short, snacky, all killer, no filler, the fillet of the fillet, immediate gratification TikTok kind of thing, where it just shoots you directly into the heroin eyeball of whatever the fuck it is you want to hear about. And it seems to me YouTube has kind of like re-geared their algorithm to show you shit you actually want to see, maybe. Things you might actually vibe with that you wouldn't discover on your... That's what TikTok seemed like it was doing. Showing you things that you didn't know you liked. Or things that would trigger you in just the perfect way. It would dom you, in a way that... I guess. I don't even know what the fuck that means. Look, rich jocks in their Greenwich Village apartment. Jock culture, taking over everything, trying to be stand-up comedians. Jocks trying to be stand-up comedians. Joe Rogan meatheads. MMA fighters. I think stand-up comedy has just become this kind of town hall. Like, who was it? John Lovitz. Fucking Michael Rappaport doing, like, stand-up comedy shows. It's just like, Tom Brady's gonna be a fucking stand-up comedian. Like, it's become just like this weird... Try your hand at this. Maybe it's the new garage band. I don't know. Everybody wants to be Rogan instead of whoops. Yeah, so this guy Nelson Sullivan, right, he had basically a camcorder in the 80s. He was basically he was the first vlogger, as far as you can really tell. I mean, there were definitely people who had filmed their lives and things like that, but he would turn the camera, point it at himself, talk to the camera, and it was basically like he was friends with kind of the downtown East Village, whatever, avant-garde scene. He was friends with RuPaul and Michael Musto and all those club kids that were on. If you watch that episode of Geraldo with all the Michael Ellig or whatever, the party monster. Michael Ellig is the guy who killed somebody. I forget, it was some kind of drug thing. And he did time in prison, but he was like a party kid, the club kids. So Nelson Sullivan was friends with all these people. And it's kind of like Nan Golden, I guess. He would take his video camera around and just film them hanging out, film a day in New York, walking around. So they were really video diaries, vlogs. They were very similar to contemporary vlogs. There's a YouTube page, I encourage everybody to check it out, for Nelson Sullivan. His YouTube page is very well done, and he's got shitloads of views. He died in 1989. He died, I think, when he was 39 or 40. He had a sudden heart attack, and it was fatal, and he just died. Kind of like Jonathan Larson. He seems kind of like that guy who wrote Rent, where it's like, he just died like that, And with a lot of this kind of stuff, documentary style filmmaking or vlogging, I think we're at a place where especially back then, it would have been hard to see the value of incidental footage, filming your friends, because there was no way to distribute it really. I guess he had 1,200 tapes He filmed 1,200 tapes over his lifetime of just hanging out with his friends, you know, walking around New York, going to parties, going to New Year's Eve parties with RuPaul, performances. He filmed a lot of performances. And I think he had a public access show. You know, in the days before YouTube, public access was sort of the Warhol, here's how you become, you know, here's how you get a workout. You know, here's a public distribution system. You're on, and it, you know, public access poetry, or there's that Poetry Thin Air show. Damon Zex, of course, in Columbus. And then I was on public access, right? Scenes from a Life is on public access. Now it's kind of obsolete because we have YouTube. We have on-demand video libraries of anything you ever want to see anywhere on Earth. So public access is not really, you know, it's just like basic cable. It's just sort of, it's over, you know. But at the time, that was probably the only way somebody like Nelson Sullivan could distribute what they were doing, because, you know, it was just, he would just film shit with like his camcorder. You know, it wasn't even like Super 8 or film or anything. So it's like, especially at the time, it's hard to see the value of that stuff, you know, right? Like things like verite footage of just reality becomes more fascinating over time and more valuable over time, because it's almost like time travel. You can watch these videos, you can see a pre-internet world, a pre-cell phone world, a pre-gentrification New York, pre-gentrification East Village. You know, everything just feels slow, feels kind of crummy, feels kind of like shady, a little bit criminal, a little bit intimidating, a little bit dirtier. You know, everything now is kind of glitzy. It's more shined up for Instagram, for the internet. Everything is super glass and kind of hard edges, lame kind of, you know, like this Beam Bar. If you look at this fucking sign over here, it's like, what an ugly, you know, or Hercules Cafe. It's like, what an ugly fucking sign. Like, it's just this kind of sans serif, you know, it definitely looks like it was created on Canva or something. Where do I want to go? John's Pizzeria. Umblica. Okay, so that's where they did Artie's party in Howard. What the fuck was I talking about?
Okay, we'll check it out. Here, send that in.
Oh, these Nelson Sullivan videos. Okay, so I don't know who edits them, if he edited them or if whoever like imported them into YouTube did like a selection, because the videos are all like 2 to 3 to 10 minutes long. They're not long, and they are nicely truncated. You know, they don't get, but you know, I think he, you know, I read a little bit about him. He doesn't seem to be that known or that championed by the art world or the kind of legitimate institutions in a way that I feel like he should be, because he was looking at it. I think he moved to New York. He was from Atlanta. He was from the South. He was gay. And I think he moved to New York to be sort of a great American, to write the great American novel, I think is what he said. And I think he found when he started filming shit with video camera, that's the way that he would say that he was writing the great American novel, by filming these people, by filming RuPaul or Michael Musto or just various friends that he had on the scene. There's one episode where they're walking through Central Park. They go to an opera, so they, you know, they're on a slide, and it's poetic, you know, because life is poetic, right? That's what poetry is. It's just like sort of taking a piece of life and going, look at this. Look at how fucking profound this is. Isn't this unbelievable? Just look at how the magic of coincidence, the magic, like running into Luca Ferro during my live stream, you know, just the pulsating aliveness of the world, and video and verite and, you know, documentary so-called footage. I don't really look at it that way. is a great way to capture that beauty and that poetry and that magic, the magic of life, the magic of walking around and running into people, sitting, there's one episode where he's at 7A. I think it was the same place that was still here when I moved here. 7A on the corner of 7th and A, rest in peace, great, great place. It was 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get a shrimp burrito for like $10. Oh, it was so great. I had friends who worked there. A lot of people from Columbus would hang out at 7A. So there's one episode, he's sitting on the patio at 7A, he's having a cappuccino. And there's just a sense of time that's completely different than now. I lived in the Short North in Columbus, Ohio in the 90s, which was like the Soho of Columbus, Ohio. It was like a really nice bones, nice buildings. It was, beautiful houses, but it was a bad neighborhood. It was all HUD houses, downtown, close to downtown. And the sense of time in that neighborhood is how it felt in this video. It just felt like boredom, maybe a little bit of danger, hot, no air conditioning. Everything's kind of unfinished and vacant. The stores are vacant. Buildings are vacant. Apartments are vacant. Buildings are falling apart. There's, there's shady, poor people. There's poverty. You just feel poverty. It's like, that's what the mystery of me. This is what I spend so much of my life thinking about and trying to figure out is like, I don't know how the world went from being abandoned and disused in the 90s and when these videos were made in the 80s. If you watch, it's a completely different East Village, It just wasn't valuable in the same way to people, I guess, to an international moneyed class like it is now, of jet set, people that can just internet buy anything. I mean, obviously, I think the internet is the biggest change. I think it's just created a market that is worldwide. And so back then it was like much more local. Everything had to be local. There weren't, you couldn't just rent an apartment or buy an apartment on fucking, what's that, Zillow or whatever the fuck it is. You couldn't just Zillow every fucking... And, there was it reminded me of Slacker a lot, the Linklater movie, where it's like that's sort of a portrait of a bohemian social set. He's sort of traveling through this town with these little these little character monologue sketches of all these crazy kind of people that you'd see like in a coffee house in the 80s or 90s, A bohemian coffee house that smells like BO, and it was vegan when it meant something. Pre-Starbucks coffee house, Starbucks being the kind of corporate hygiene, deodorized version of that, non-bohemian. It's all about quantifying your productivity in your minutes and getting work done and having meetings and, getting caffeinated for those purposes, to serve your corporation, not to just like write your novel or whatever, like your fucking Victor Hugo. And so that's sort of what Nelson Sullivan, you get the sense, is doing. He's filming all his friends because he finds them beautiful and good it's like a Warhol thing too. That's obviously the other big influence. Filming, this was in the 80s. So it was before cell phones and before vlogs, and now vlogging, now you go to fucking Best Buy or Target and they have like a vlogging kit. Like, here's the camera you need to buy to film your friends and family and put it on the internet. Over the last, and maybe this is a Gen Z thing, but, definitely over the last few years, I think vlogging has become more and more normal. Jesus Christ, Instagram, TikTok, now everybody is just sort of like a mini vlogger, or they're in the video production business, essentially, like me. Filmmaking is becoming more and more of a native expression. It's becoming like a part of our body almost, having a camera phone kind of creates like, you know, another appendage that links us in a, you know, like this war, right? Everybody's watching what's happening on TikTok or whatever, you know. A lot of it surprisingly is happening on TikTok, I feel, because you get a lot of different points of view. You get footage on the ground, and you get, you know, different people. You just see different vantages on the thing. Where did I want to go? I guess I'll keep going up Hudson. And so I think writers, poetry, you know, books are going out of print. Books are becoming too expensive to make, just like everything, but also just like as business world and as tech world takes power and decides that we don't need fucking paper anymore, you can just use a Kindle, they'll just start making less books, you know? So it's like writers are gonna have to find other containers, right? That people are moving into, obviously. Content libraries. It's like reading a book. It's radio, you know, it's radio theater. And so approaching it like that, I don't know. When I started doing Scenes from a Life in 2014, you know, it was still a point where people really didn't want you to film them. You know, it was kind of weird to film your friends and stuff and just film regular life. You know, like my generation and generations before me, if you turn a fucking camcorder on, people go, wait a minute, stop. Or, you know, you get nervous, you kind of get shy, you go, oh. You know, whereas people younger than me, you turn a camera on them and that's when they, you know, they know what to do. They start posing, they start performing. It's not looked at as like this invasive privacy intrusion quite as much. Here's the Aubrey Plaza. I'd love to see Aubrey Plaza in this play. They just renovated this theater. I think Netflix bought it. That's why they painted it all red and ugly and shit. It was beautiful. The interior of this theater was so fucking nice. And they just renovated it and made it look like a fucking Cinemark at Movies 12 in Dublin, Ohio. They've still got the posters and shit up though, so that's cool. Yeah, so I don't know. This Nelson Sullivan videos, definitely check them out on YouTube. You know, it was just a completely different New York. Like I'm saying, how did it go from being this? So he bought a townhouse, and this is in the videos. He bought an entire townhouse. And as far as I know, he like had a part-time job at like a fucking cafe. You know, he didn't have like some kind of big, high-paying, you know, he wasn't a rich kid. He wasn't a trust fund kid. He just had some kind of office job in New York. And he bought a townhouse, which is, and now it's like an Italian restaurant or something in the meatpacking district. It's right near Serafina. It's like right next to that restaurant, Serafina. And so I guess it was like some kind of ship captain house or something back in the 1800s. So there's parts of it that are like made of old ships. And, you know, so it had a lot of character. It was not only an entire fucking like townhouse, but it like was this interesting kind of unique artifact that he bought. I mean, who knows what that neighborhood was like at that time. This was before, way before Sex and the City and the meatpacking district became, you know, probably Hogs and Heifers wasn't even there. It was probably before that. So it was at 5 Ninth Avenue. That's what his YouTube account is called. It's called 5 Ninth Avenue, which was his address in Manhattan. He bought an entire townhouse. I don't know how much it cost, but you know, that's pretty much the dream, you know, to own a townhouse basically in the West Village and have, I guess he sort of had like a Warhol type situation where his friends were constantly coming over. He's filming them, you know, filming them hanging out. There's a couple episodes where they're playing Trivial Pursuit on the roof of his building that he owns. It's just like, how did the world go from that? How did the world go from being like, no one gave a fuck about any of these buildings? You could get them practically for free. And not only that, but the control. The fact that there was so much crime and violent crime that the city was not under control. You know, the criminals kind of had fucking control. They had the upper hand, you know, like the NYPD was afraid of them. They, you know, they wouldn't, or, you know, they'd go into certain places with trepidation. Now it's like the city is so fucking controlled. It's such a security state. It's such a police state. The NYPD is such a force in the sort of post 9/11 world. New York, they go hand in hand. You know, the property values going up. You know, something changed with the zoning, or I don't even know, but New York basically became a bank. You know, it's basically a safety deposit box for a bunch of people to fucking keep their money. They buy these outrageous, and so they need the property values to stay high. So they have to have this outrageous police force to keep the fucking crime rate down, because that's what keeps the people with the money feeling safe here. And so it's just crazy to see a possibility where a guy could move from Atlanta and have a, you know, an office job and buy an entire fucking townhouse in the West Village and live this kind of like Peter Pan art life. Just filming his friends. And so, you know, part of my quest with the Scenes from a Life thing and vlogging is I'm trying to capture a demi-monde and a scene and a panoply of characters, a human comedy, if you will, through video. You know, I'm trying to tell the story of a poet in New York, an entertainer, a show business personality, you know, a dreamer, a striver, a fresh young voice from the plains. I'm trying to show this, you know, so my model, and maybe a lot of people's model, I read the book Inferno by Eileen Miles, which is Eileen Miles sort of like Kunstlit Roman, how they became an artist, you know, and a lot of it is about how they went to the Poetry Project. They took classes, Alice Notley, whatever, Ted Berrigan. The novel is all about their youth in New York and how they became a poet, you know, going to readings, going to workshops, meeting these other poets. So there's a lot of anecdotes about famous, you know, there's a chapter about Rene Ricard, there's a chapter about Ted Berrigan, there's writing about Bill Knott. So it's sort of a, you know, how they did it coming. It's like Just Kids, right? Just Kids is sort of like the pop version of this. Just Kids, Patti Smith's romantic tale of young person becoming an artist in New York and an icon, whatever. So Just Kids was sort of like the National Book Award winning, you know, rock star version of Inferno. Inferno was a poet's novel. And so it's got that great Eileen Miles voice and style and kind of directness and brilliant genius, you know. I mean, it's probably my favorite book, you know. It's one of the reasons why I went to the Poetry Project, because I just thought, well, this is this place, you know. And so this Nelson Sullivan's videos are sort of like a video version of that, actually. You know, if you're looking at them as sort of a great American novel, or, you know, if you watch all the videos or you just sort of take them in that way, it's the story of the scene at that time, you know, RuPaul and Keith Haring, and Andy Warhol is even in, you know, one of the fucking videos. He meets Andy Warhol, of course. the ubiquitous, great Andy Warhol, who were all kind of, I mean, you know, whatever. That's a whole other vlog. And so, you know, with Scenes from a Life, I was really just trying to write an autofiction, right? Autofiction is sort of the moment that we're in with writing. Ben Lerner, whoever, you know, everybody writes, or we were, maybe autofiction's over. I haven't heard the term in a hot minute, but, you know, that's what I was trying to do with Scenes from a Life and with my vlogs, was like capture, you know, because a lot of times, like, okay, for example, there's one detail in this video that's really beautiful. He's at Central Park with his friends. They're walking across the park to go to the opera or to see the opera or something. And that's a beautiful subject for the episode in and of itself. Just we're walking across Central Park to go to the opera. What a nice, you know, they would never make a TV show about this. They couldn't, because everything in Hollywood screenwriting class tells you you have to have a conflict, you have to have rising action, you have to have blah, blah, blah. You know, this is another reason why I make my videos the way I do, because I don't want to make movies about conflict. I don't want to make movies about action. You know, I want to make a movie about walking around New York and talking. Like Woody Allen or My Dinner with Andre. Because that's what life is. Most of life is just speculating, dissecting, you know, savoring the details. So one of the, okay, so they're playing, I think it's Trivial Pursuit. Or no, they have I think it's a Laverne and Shirley board game. It's a Laverne and Shirley board game. Like I said, this is the early 80s or something. You know, this is pre-Nintendo even. It's like, they don't have anything. They got a fucking Laverne and Shirley board game. This is how people entertain themselves in the Stone Ages. Before you could just live stream every obnoxious second. See, this guy couldn't live stream. He was basically live streaming on tape from the 80s, you know? And it feels very much like this. It's edited, like I said. It's a little bit edited. So one of the moments, they're carrying this Laverne and Shirley board game around. And they're singing the song, you know, Haas and Pepper Incorporated. One of them knows the song, one of them doesn't know the song. So all these details, it's like you couldn't write this stuff. It's kind of more rich than real life, actually, to just watch these people react to this, and their reactions and the detail, the thumbprint of who they are is so apparent in every moment. And there's like, you know, things in screenwriting and storytelling are so economized that there's things in life that complicate things that you wouldn't even consider. So they're carrying this fucking board game around, right? They took it to the park with them, so they still have the fucking board game. So this becomes not necessarily a plot point, but it becomes a consideration in the video that would never happen in a fucking movie, them carrying this board game around. And so they're going down this slide, and there's a moment in one of my vlogs, the vlog in Portland, where I go down a big slide. It's a recurring thing in vlogs, to go down a slide. And so the guy goes down the slide, and then, of course, he's got this board game. So what does he do? He puts the board game down the slide before him. So he sends the board game down the slide, and so you watch this Laverne and Shirley board game go down this fucking slide, and then it kind of flies off the end, you know, and kind of, you know, there's a little moment where it kind of soars, and then it hits the ground. And it's like, that's a beautiful little fucking poetic moment that you would never see in a fucking real movie, where he puts this Laverne and Shirley board game on the slide, right? And, oh, okay, this is Roy Lichtenstein's studio. He went to Ohio State, I think. I have to read this real quick. This was the New York City home and studio of Roy Lichtenstein from 1988 until his death in 1997. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, great. I got to go to the Whitney to see the Harry Smith exhibit. I haven't gotten to see that yet. We'll go to 5 9th Avenue because it's right up here. Since I'm talking about Nelson Sullivan, it's only fitting that we should go to the actual place. Like I said, I encourage people to, because it's not just like he's filming, right? It's not just like he's filming these shitty, or his friends or whatever. It's like he understands. I think he was a fan of Tennessee Williams. He has kind of a Tennessee Williams effect. He's got a mustache and he's got the Southern accent. So he feels kind of like a modern Tennessee Williams in a way, except he was doing it on video. You know, you can tell he senses the kind of poetry. I mean, otherwise, why would these people hang out with him? You know, he's hanging out with Michael Musto and RuPaul and people who are sort of like the party monster, who are sort of like, you know, I mean, look at RuPaul. Look at what a force that has become in the fucking culture. You know, RuPaul's Drag Race is practically the biggest thing in show business, I would say. You know, it's created this mega genre and made drag into like this industry. Whereas like in these videos, it's just like they're at the Pyramid Club, basically doing what we're fucking doing. You know, doing a cabaret show to like 20 people or something, 30 people. That's what New York is all about. And so it's really exciting to see this kind of long, naturalistic. I think filmmaking is going to become more and more like this. It already has. Things like TikTok, people embrace lo-fi, they embrace circumstantial, they embrace, you know, when people film Harry Potter reenactment scenes in their like shitty apartment in the subdivisions of the Midwest where like the lighting sucks, everything's drywall, everything's an MI home. It's like people don't give a fuck. Whereas like Hollywood movies, these ultra compressed, I don't know, people still go for that stuff. Put music behind anything. Put like inspiring speech music behind anything. And people will go, oh, that sounds fucking inspiring, dude. Is that Rudy Rudiger? Is this fucking Rudy? Has anybody seen the movie Rudy with Sean Astin? Is that still a relevant cultural reference? It was on cable, like, you know, ubiquitously when I was a fucking kid. Rudy. Yeah, we'll go to 5 Ninth Avenue. It's right up here. So yeah, check out Nelson Sullivan. You know, like I said, I think he was not necessarily looking at. It's just weird how when you write something into a script, all of a sudden it has to be dramatic. It has to have conflict. It has to have, the characters have to want things. You know, this was the entire education that I got as a theater major, and this is something I've been thinking about. It's just like these big systems, big educational systems. You know, in this country and in the industrialized world. I was watching this TikTok video about how school, you know, they designed our modern school system to create good office workers, you know. Sometime in the 1800s, the late 1800s, after industrialization, the powers that be, you know, the big magnates, they needed to create a population of employees. People who could work in offices, people who could sit at desks, people who could memorize facts and regurgitate them. And so they created this modern school system where we sit at fucking desks and they kill our bodies, you know, they just squeeze all the life out of us. There's the, yeah, we gotta go to the Harry Smith exhibit. And, you know, in college and theater, every fucking theater program espouses the same fucking, you have to have an objective, you have to have a playable action, you have to have, what does your character want? What is your character's, you know, strategies for getting what they want? It's like, for some reason, when you're writing a novel, at least I never really encountered that, I don't know. Not that I took that many fiction writing classes, but it seems like in a novel, you can just kind of write more about description, you know, happenstance, incident. That's why I like poetry. That's why I eventually had to write poetry, because I did just want to write things about the non-action. You know, I wanted to write things that were not action, conflict, violence, you know, punching, people being mean to each other. Okay, so it's over here. It's right over here. You know, this is how vlogs feel to me. This is how, to some extent, this Nelson Sullivan's videos, they're more like a novel in that way. You know, it's not about, oh my God, here's all the bad shit we went through. Okay, here it is, right here. Look at it. It's amazing. This is Fort Gainsford right here. This is 9 Fifth Avenue. Yeah, 5 Ninth Avenue. 5 Ninth Avenue. This was Nelson Sullivan's house. I just found out about the guy, so I'm not, I don't know how much it cost when he fucking bought it. But, now this house is probably worth, I don't know, $10 million or something. So, look at this fucking door. That's probably original. It probably was his fucking door. Pretty crazy. I think it's like a gallery or something now. So, yeah, I'm surprised that I don't see more fucking people in New York. I mean, it is, it's, Jonas Mekas' films are similar in a way. They're a little more, I don't know, aesthetically amped up. Like part of, I think, why, or at least like the argument they're trying to make for the significance of this Nelson Sullivan artist is he's like a precursor to like vlogs. Specifically, like he turned the camera, pointed at himself, and would talk into it. Which in the 80s with the fucking video camera, there weren't that many people walking around. But like I said, there was no system of distribution then in the same way. So there was no encouragement to do that, right? Like now we have YouTube, we have live streaming, we have all these different places to put that content. And I don't know. I'd like to see more people use their real life as, I don't know, that's what you're trying to write about in a way. I don't know if people have to use it, but, I'm trying to show things in my vlog that you would write about, which like a lot of those parts of life are maybe parts of life that are not meant to be public, or that's why you talk about them in a novel or something, because you can use that form, you can mask it and change the character names, change the events around a little bit, transpose the location, something. Wow, so this is crazy. He owned that whole fucking house, man. Of course, back then this place was like a complete bombed out wasteland of sex, hardcore sex, work. The Hellfire Club, I think. All that leather, all that leather was around here. All of the cruising. They should have just called cruising fisting. They should have just called that movie fisting. Just kidding. I've been around comedians, so yeah, there it is. Nelson Sullivan. This is our lecture on Nelson Sullivan and cinema verite. I don't like. Everybody ascribes it as like he's a documentarian. He documented the milieu. He documented his friend group or something. But I don't know. I think if you handle it and you approach it like it's a fictional material, or you approach it like it is a cinematic story, or, like the move to autofiction, I think is novelists just trying to capture kind of, truth is stranger than fiction. Things happen in real life. The drama, oh, there she is. Oh, no. Oh, my God.
I was about to scream at Proctor. I was like, I'm at the point where I'm so out of breath. We almost crossed paths in front of White Horse Tavern, but you were a few steps ahead of me.
Okay. See, this is the perfect moment of what I'm talking about. No.
What?
Don't. Not on my live stream. No. I'm right in the middle. I still have to do 25 more minutes. I love this back. Oh, Alabaster Rum is watching. Thank you. Thank you for watching. I'm sorry. I can't read the chat because it's like overlapping or something. I meant to turn the chat off. Okay. There we go. No, not right now. I'm in the middle of this. I'll call you in 25 minutes, okay?
My phone's dying.
What do you mean it's dying? Don't you have a charger?
I do, but I can't find it.
See, you just run into people everywhere. Okay, well, What should I do? I don't know. I'm in the middle of lecturing about this. You can't just wait here. I'll be back in 25 minutes.
Wait.
Or I don't know. Just give me 25 minutes. You're just interrupting me in the middle of this.
Okay, will you come back later?
Yeah. Or you want to go to Bleecker Park?
I was there.
Okay.
I just didn't know if you'd go there.
Okay. You're gonna sit right here.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
just sit and
All
start.
right.
But come back.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So that makes me look like a monster. I don't know. I've been doxxed. I shouldn't have mentioned the address. What? I will. I am gonna go back. I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to. You know, I do 2 hours. I'm trying to do 2 hours. I just want to finish what I start. Okay. Anyway, fuck. Well, yeah, so I was talking about using real life. That's a good example of a moment of, you know, a reality. Not to be a fucking, you know, divorced from the fact that it is reality, you know, or that it's like somebody's real, feelings or whatever, or situation. But I mean, we're moving more into a time where things are more and more public. You know, people can just screenshot your fucking text messages and send them, put them on the internet. You know, a lot of these fucking body cam footage and shit, right? A lot of modern kind of morality is about like, oh, we got this person on video being an asshole. And so we want, you know, we're gonna bully them, we're gonna shun them. You know, and just, I don't know what kind of difference that kind of thing makes. You know, for most of my lifetime, the opinion has been, you know, if they have a picture of you or footage of you doing something untoward, you will lose, you know, you'll never be president, or like, you know, you'll be canceled or whatever, right? And watching like these fucking Howard Stern shows, right? One thing they were playing was the Access, I think it was an Access Hollywood tape, but it may have been Entertainment Tonight, but I'm pretty sure it was Access Hollywood. It was an Access Hollywood tape of Pat O'Brien. And he was, you know, it was like it was a drunk dial. Basically. He like drunk dialed one of his staffers, or I don't even know who the fuck it was, but it was a female employee or something. And he just wasted, and he's just like, you know, just being obscene about, you know, talking about how into this chick he is and what he's going to do to her and blah, blah, blah. And so, you know, this was a scandal. I'm sure he lost his job because of this, right? I just think it's interesting that was kind of a weird precursor to the Trump tape, which is also an Access Hollywood tape. And how that didn't work, for one thing. You know, that was how they really tried to torpedo Trump, was with that tape. They grab him by the you-know-what tape. And it didn't really work. You know, like, he still fucking won, you know? I mean, people refer to that tape, but like, there was also an episode with this guy, Rod Blagojevich, who was the governor of Illinois, who supposedly sold Obama's Senate seat, and they had a tape of him on the phone. You know, this was before surveillance. Part of the point of why I'm talking about this is it was before phones and surveillance culture became like everybody has a fucking surveillance weapon in their fucking, you know, pocket or whatever. Everywhere. And that like ended those guys' Rod Blagojevich went to jail. I mean, he went to federal fucking prison for like 8 years because they had a fucking tape of him saying, this thing is fucking gold. I don't know. I mean, all I'm saying is, like, in the era of deep fakes, right? They can fake people's voices. Now, I don't know. It's just there's going to be more and more footage of things. There's all these doorbell cam footage. A lot of the videos on TikTok are like doorbell cams. Something happens to a fucking delivery guy while he's, from the doorbell cam footage. And I don't know. I mean, part of my own process is I don't really film things that, I don't film things that, I really don't film much of anything. I'll barely film a conversation with somebody because I am still from the school where it's like not polite to film people, not polite to post footage of people, filming is kind of awkward. You're putting people on the spot. I mean, when I started filming the Scenes from a Life thing, it just seemed insanely narcissistic. It just seemed like because people were not really doing that, at least not in my friend group. You know what I mean? It was not normal for people to vlog or whatever. So to film oneself talking, to put your life on the internet as if it's worth watching, that's like the question is like, what makes your fucking life so interesting that anybody would want to watch it? It's just normal life. Why is that interesting? We want to see movies that have stakes. We want to see fucking Die Hard. We want to see Star Wars. We want to see Harry Potter. We don't want to see a slice of life. We want a slice of cake. Right? That's what Hitchcock said. Some people's films are slices of life, mine are slices of cake. I like slices of life. To me, a slice of life is a slice of cake. Life is cake. Well, it is what it is, but it's real. And anything else seems like kind of a fantasy. I don't know. But maybe we're at a reality overload. Maybe there's too much body cam footage. There's too much GoPro footage. There's too much point of view. There's too much autofiction. There's not enough imagination. There's not enough real fiction. There's not enough making shit up. Here's my live stream for the week. What a piece of shit. I'm all over the fucking place. Thank you for watching, everyone. Thank you for watching. It's also just a time thing. I mean, it just feels like everything is directly uploaded to the internet now. It's like the idea of sitting and writing a novel or taking time to do that. I don't know. For me, a lot of my interest in real life kind of predates the technology. I always looked at art as a thing that was like trying to tell me something about life that I could relate to, or like that was gonna teach me how to understand what was going on, give me a sympathetic somebody who knows my experience, who can put it into words, who can verbalize, or something that, this is one reason why I'm constantly, grafting these kind of pop culture things over my life, because they feel like they're your life. When you see Annie Hall, or when you see Manhattan, or when you listen to Weezer, or when you listen to, or you watch, there's certain movies that you just see and you're just like, this is my life, That's kind of what I'm always looking for. And so I wanted to get closer and closer to life, closer and closer to what it's really like. Closer and closer to what the world really looks like. But that's just become everything now. I mean, everything has become a vlog, TikTok, right? But I don't know. I think there could be something bigger made out of it. There could be a bigger, like the Nelson Sullivan videos do seem like a bigger project. It does seem, but that was why I had the question about the editing, because I'm not sure how much editing he did. Like I said, there was no real medium for him to put that stuff across on. So it's not like he was making it into like 2-hour-long films or a mini series for television. I mean, it was a public access show, I guess, but the way that it's been distributed on YouTube, I don't know if they took videos that were already existing and just uploaded them, or if they had an editor go in and select things. But to me, that's a lot of the work that goes into my show, or the point that goes into my show, is because, when you're living it is when you're kind of writing it and kind of dramatizing it and guiding it into what you want it to be. And so you're directing it as you're living it, and you're trying to film it and capture and create images, capture images that you find from life, that seem interesting or poetic or beautiful. John Wilson, I guess, is, obviously probably the most successful person. Although I haven't watched too much of his shit, but it doesn't seem like it's about his life. It's sort of just like a commentary show. It's like John Oliver or something, except he just films shit on the street. Whereas, like, I explicitly want to make a novel sort of poem on film as I go through my life and capture, like I was saying, that experience of, coming of age, learning the life of the artist, like Seinfeld, right? Seinfeld is a show about a comedian, the life of a comedian. Not that it really has progression or, I think that's part of the point of it. They wanted it to be more like life, because anything else seemed a little, sitcom-y, tying things up, lessons, moralizing. So I don't necessarily know that there was a greater narrative or like a chronological through line or an attempt to tell that part of the story. I'm not sure what the structure, right, of the Nelson Sullivan videos are. On the YouTube page, there's a lot of them. Like I said, I encourage people to check these out. But it's sort of like you can just click and jump around however you want. I wish they would organize them into playlists or something. Like organize it into a chronological playlist, or, there's a lot you could potentially do with how you organize it. And I think in a way, that's really all, that's part of art, is just like putting things in a certain order, putting them, the structure, the form is a lot of what gives it, an ongoing shape that people can follow through. And especially something like that, where it's like you're filming, especially when you're filming real life, it's like there are so many things that are just incidental and that don't necessarily pertain to any kind of master. narrative, but I also don't think that matters. I mean, I don't think a narrative has to be like a quest or like we're going to get something that we all want. It's just like narrative is just like time passing, really. Like if you just roll the camera, that's like a narrative. But at the same time, like with Scenes from a Life, it's like it's all about things being in chronological order and watching it in that order, because it is meant to tell, the narrative is, the reality tunnel, that I've been in. All right, is there anything else? So I got to do 8 more minutes. What the fuck else? So yeah, I did fucking stand-up comedy. It's Halloween at Easy Paradise on Monday. Come out for Halloween. We've got lasers. We're gonna maybe have a projector. We're gonna have all kind of masks and shit. So we're hoping to have a super blast. They've got an open mic downstairs from 7 to 9. So you do both. It's a double header. Sign up for both. Do the downstairs KGB Monday, and then come upstairs to do the Easy Paradise. Monday's show I thought was very good. I thought we had a great, maybe I should do a little recap. It was about the best scenario we could have in a lot of ways, because we had a lot of audience members, people that just sort of came in to watch, who also spent money. And, they just sat and kind of enjoyed the show. That's what I'm trying to work on now, is like, traditionally the show has been so freaking busy that I just have to get up and introduce the next person and get out of the way. And so one thing that happened a few times over the summer is like, we kind of needed to stretch the show a little bit. There were people that were coming in, but we were running out of performers. So I didn't have anybody else on the list. So I'm like, oh fuck, what are we gonna do? These people are coming in to watch and sit and pay for drinks and shit, but there's nobody else on the list. So we're done. And so I'm starting to think, okay, I need to stretch. I need to be able to go up on stage. This didn't even really occur to me, and do 5 or 10 minutes or just riff for a couple minutes. I need to get more comfortable doing that stuff, because that's kind of like where I'm out of my comfort zone. It's one thing to just go up on stage and be like, hey, give it up for this person one more time. All right, next is this person, blah, 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 and that's it. It's another thing to get up there for 3 or 4 or 5 minutes and hold the audience's attention and be edifying and make them laugh or make them think or whatever, and then bring up the next person. Like that's the thing I need to kind of work on. So on Monday's show, it was like, we didn't have, on a good week average, we'll get like close to 50 people signed up. And so that's, generally what I'd like to have, somewhere around there. I think we had not even 30 people signed up this Monday. It was like literally the least people we've had in a while. And I've seen TikTok, I was watching TikTok videos. I don't know if they were just showing this to me because of, the algorithm or whatever, or if, Ashley, if you're watching, just come here. I'm at the Whitney. I literally can't read the chat. It's like overlapping and I can't read any of it. So I'm not ignoring anybody. I literally just can't even read it. So, we didn't have that many people signed up. I was watching TikTok videos. They were showing me TikTok videos about how things are just dead. Bars are dead. I went to this open mic on Sunday, the day before, and they said it was like the least people they'd ever had. So I think there's just something, I don't know if it's the war, if it's inflation, it seems like they're tightening the financial bootstraps a little more. And so maybe that's just, a greater trend. I do think with the open mic, to some degree, we were riding the energy coming out of the pandemic. People had been cooped up. They'd been saving money. A lot of people had just moved to New York. A lot of people were young, and they're just kind of exploding into adulthood, and they really want to get on stage, and they really want to. They're not afraid to go for it. They're Gen Z, and they've been quarantined or whatever at college. So like they just want to get out, and they want to be up there. They've all been weaponized as performers through social media, and this is IRL social media, basically. It's an IRL post. And real social media. The open mic, real social media. It's social, it's media. Social media is not really social. It's just, it's media, kinda. Yeah, so I don't know if that's just a greater thing, but I mean, part of my philosophy of doing this is just like consistency and just persevering, doing it every week no matter what. Working on, one thing that I'm realizing about doing it is like after doing it for a year, like we are getting better. We are getting good, by having that much time on stage and just hitting it hard every time, we can develop what we're doing. We can sharpen it. Like I said, we've got some big things planned this week with the projector and the lasers, the wireless mic. But, I'm getting more comfortable talking to audiences on stage. It's a lot like being a waiter, to be honest. It's just you have like 80 people you're talking to instead of 4. It's pretty similar. It's just like, you're on the spot. You've got to think of something funny to say to get yourself out of holes and stuff. So yeah, there weren't as many people signed up. We actually did hit our target financially. We sold what we needed to sell, and so maybe that's a good way to do it. Maybe it's better to just have, I don't know. I like doing a big show. I'd like to get as many people as I can every week, but for whatever reason, and there's a number of factors, I understand. There's, the fucking Molotov cocktail torpedoed Mike Tober. So, that scared away, 15 to 20% of my audience right there. But that's life. So, I was talking, this comedian today at this open mic, the host was telling some story about some comedy thing he did in New Jersey or something. It sounded 10 times as insane. He said this comedian says the N-word on stage, and then he threw a stool at somebody. He hit this guy's girlfriend with the stool, and then he punched this other guy in the face. It's like, shit happens at these fucking live events, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying that that's good, but, I feel like part of what I'm learning is like, I do want to be in the nightlife business. I like nightlife. I like entertaining. I like getting on stage and hosting shit and talking to people, and I feel kind of comfortable doing it in a way, and so I do want to like try to build this out. If we're throwing parties, if we're promoting things, Kuzu Daddy's got all these fucking sound systems and shit. So why not really embrace that and try to professionalize that and be good at it? And it's all just part of. I'm not saying it's that we don't want anything like that to ever happen again. But like, you're in a bar and I don't know, crazy shit goes down from time to time, and so it's just about walking the path and continuing to follow the warrior's journey, getting up on stage, hitting open mics. This is something I want to get back to. I want to get back out to more stuff and circulate more. I hope I'm trying to go to Soho Playhouse tonight, do their open mic, and get to more poetry stuff. And hopefully people will come out Monday to the big Halloween show. We got a lot of surprises, and it's fun people, so it'll, people will bring the fun. There's a sobriety trend, I think, happening too. This is also something I'm seeing on TikTok. Maybe this is bullshit or just my algorithm. But Ed told me a few weeks ago he was joining AA, which is good. That's great. But I don't know, he kind of tends to do things whenever, like he was watching Secession when everybody was watching Secession. He kind of follows, and so there's like a sobriety wave happening, which is that's great. I don't drink really, and haven't for a long time. But I think that's maybe one reason why we're getting a little less business, even through, it's just been spotty. Certain weeks we'll have a lot of people, and then we'll usually have about 40 to 50 people. But, there have been weeks, like I said, like on Monday, it was still a great show. I mean, in a certain way, having less people signed up, it allows us a little room to experiment. It takes the pressure off me where I feel like I can sort of let loose a little bit. You got to bear in mind, like my act is typically pretty fucking wild. Like when I do a System Lord, or, if I really wanted to do what I'd like to do with stand-up comedy, I would be going pretty fucking berserk. Like on this open mic I was pretty loud, and I just do that because it's just what I have to do. But, with KGB, I do try to rein it in a little bit and just keep things going smoothly. I don't really go ape shit and yell crazy, like I do with System Lord or something. So I encourage people to come see System Lord. We're playing at Noise Fest or Freak Fest, November 11th. It's a Saturday night. We've got a prime time slot. Come see System Lord at Freak Fest. System Lord really doesn't get the attention it deserves. And that's something that I do. I mean, I can't force people to quid pro quo my band or my art or anything, but it disappoints me that people don't come to see System Lord gigs. At Young Ethel's, it's like it's free. Like System Lord, like Wavetable, it sort of didn't really get the attention. And so I'm trying to figure out other places I can be equally radical. And I don't know, you're just trying to find your voice on stage. You're trying to find what you do that's unique. You're trying to find, like I said, I look like some kind of prehistoric hipster with my rotting jean jacket here. I look like I stepped out of, what was that place called? Carabar, circa 2005. Or Andy Mann's Treehouse. This is more of an Andy Mann's Treehouse. I look like I listened to Pete Yorn. I'm a big Pete Yorn fan. Oh, dude, you hear? I'm a singer. I'm an acoustic guitar songwriter, and I'm a big Pete Yorn enthusiast. Did you hear that new Pete Yorn album? Did you hear the new Ryan Adams? This is like a Ryan Adams wannabe jacket right here. Back before Ryan Adams was rightly canceled. Long before. All right. What else? Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I've gotten sort of off track, I guess. My main focus is trying to fucking make it. I've got to make it somehow. Like, I have to make it. I just have to. And it does feel like jumping into a moving train or something. Like you're either gonna be able to get on it or it's gonna take off without you. And you're gonna grow old and bitter. And that's what I really need to be focused on. I need to be hitting these stages hard. And the problem with the comedy culture is it's just like it's so one way. And I really just feel like some kind of, I don't know, alt comedian or something. Like I just, it could be so much more interesting. These clubs could be so much more interesting. What the work that's being done could be so much more interesting and funnier. it feels like weird, like there's some weird agenda that everyone is trying to serve that I don't even think if they know why. You know, everybody's humor is racial or religious or something. It's just like, or it's about child molesters or something. It's like, why is our media obsessed with this stuff? I don't know. This is the point, you know, with my naturalistic documentarian, showing real life, showing the peacefulness and the beauty and the non-confrontationality of real life existence, just letting it roll along, and the friendliness and the beauty and poetry of simply taking it all in. That's what it's really about. Trying to get people to imitate that and pattern themselves on that. And just take it easy and take it in their own lives. More people should be filming the serendipitous poetry that is in abundance in our ongoing dailiness. That's a heavy focus of the New York School, right? James Schuyler, Ashbury, O'Hara, they're just trying to capture kind of things as they are. The sound of the mind, the I do this, I do that, the sound stage of the city, the sound stage of the mind, the television studio of the eyeballs, the motion picture industry in crisis of the intellect, mental movies. So we're going to keep writing cinematic poetry, poem movies, words as film cells, worms as strips, words as film, sentences as film strips, cutting in camera. They said Nelson Sullivan cuts in camera, and I'm sure that he does, but I don't think that his edits on YouTube are what he cut in camera. I think they edited stuff later. But as a naturalistic filmmaker, this is an important question to me. Did he edit this stuff or did somebody else? Because there's no credit to an editor on the video. And so I think the New Yorker, I think Anthology, people, there should be a major retrospective of this work. You know, there should be more attention paid to it. And there should be some kind